The Public Service Committee of the City Council. We have 3 items on the agenda. I know we have another meeting following us, so if we spend a half hour on each item, that ought to be fine. No, I think we can wrap it up within 15 minutes. Okay, the first agenda item is order number 191007863, petition from Massachusetts Electric to install new underground equipment to feed street lights 52 through 57 from the existing street light number 24 on Donald Lynch Boulevard. And if you would represent, you can make believe you're Mike Gorham tonight, all right? Okay, can we have your name?
Yes, Albert Galvin, Design Engineer, National Grid.
Same as last week, huh?
Yes.
You didn't change the name over the weekend?
No, not quite.
Yeah, okay, thanks for coming. Okay, this is rather a routine one. City Engineer Tom DePercio is here tonight, and he did give us a letter, and I'm just going to kind of give you an idea that why we're doing it, and I think Tom put it very nicely, that regarding Council Order 191007863, petition from Mass Electric to install new underground equipment to feed streetlights 52 through 57 from his existing street light on Donald Lynch Boulevard. I asked the following for your consideration. This new street light project is proposed at the city's request as part of our ongoing reconstruction project along Donald Lynch Boulevard. In order to coordinate with the construction activities by our contractor, some infrastructure, including the conduit at the roadway crossing, was installed at the end of the construction season in 2019. With the council's approval, the lighting and the electrical connections can be installed in the spring. Tom, if you'd like to we got 3 different items if you want to sit up with us for a minute. And I think it's nice that you're here. I think it's nice that you responded. So is this an example of you going to the contractor and telling them what we want, that in the long run this will pay dividends for us having this conduit? Is that the way I understand it?
It is, yeah. So this project was, we had an engineering consultant help with the design of this project, and we knew that we wanted it to include street lighting. It includes sidewalks and street lighting to try to make that corridor more pedestrian friendly. So it was in the plans all along, and National Grid got on board to supply a lot of the materials as part of the project.
Oh, they did, huh?
They did, and our contractor, last construction season, as I mentioned in the memo, they installed some of the infrastructure so that it's ready to go now in the spring.
Okay, will that whole project be finished up by midsummer, or will it take?
It will. Yep. Yeah, we're not too far away.
Yeah, I don't go that end of Donald Lynch that much. I didn't realize, how much work was going on out there.
Yeah.
And because Donald Lynch must be what, 25 years old now? Mm-hmm. Just about when the mall was done for the mall.
Yeah, it was. Yep, yeah. Correct.
For those people, the young people that don't realize it, they really redesigned Donald Lynch to take care of the mall.
They did. They realigned it around.
Realigned it. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks for the comments and thanks for your memo, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'd like to thank Engineer DePercio. That's very helpful for that input. Realizing that this is a reconstruction for Donald Lynch Boulevard. Question on the lighting. Will the lighting have any protective, like a shade or something? Because I know when drivers are driving, it's either too bright or not bright enough. Is there something that has a directional part of those lights?
They've been using a standard kit.
Okay.
It's kind of like a grayish coating on the bulb itself. So they're not as bright as I think they've been in the past.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, it's great because it is part of the reconstruction process.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor? You're all set. There's going to be a lot of lighting for you to go out there and shop and help the economy.
Very exciting.
Very good. Do you have anything else to add?
No, it's pretty straightforward. Looks like it's ready to go.
Some of my colleagues, we all set? Okay, if I would appreciate a motion then.
Motion to approve order number 19-100-7863.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? goes 3-0. The next item on the agenda is order number 191007864. Petition from Mass Electric to install push brace number 7-89 on the front street, which will enable National Grid to remove the pole to the tree guide wire. You can just give us a little overview of that. I've gone by that a couple of times, and every time I see it, I clap, because that wire going to that tree, it's not a pretty sight.
Right, it's kind of at an angle, obviously it's in front of the church. And over time, obviously, there could be issues with the tree, which would cause stability issues with the pole across the street if it's not supported properly, should that anchor, come off the tree or anything along those lines. So we have an initiative now to try to get rid of as many of these tree guides as possible.
Yeah.
So seeing as where the existing pole 7 is on Church Street there, the only way you can really support it properly is with a push brace behind it,
Right.
on the side of the sidewalk there.
We mentioned at the public hearing.
Yeah, this will
I know
keep the
I,
line.
for one, I'm so pleased to get rid of some of these guide wires. They're
Right.
not very attractive. And in this case here, I think the church has been praying right along to get rid of that,
Yeah, it adds a nice stability to the lines
Yeah.
for the street. It's a better
Right.
look, like you said.
Right. Counsel? Irish?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question on, I know the engineer DePercio had mentioned for,
A stub pole
yeah,
anchor?
for the feasibility of an alternative to that pole. So I was wondering, is that a
Do
possibility?
you-
Instead of going with the push brace, go across the street with a stub pole? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as he mentioned, I didn't read it really all, I didn't read that part of that memo, but he basically, a push brace at this location, not ideal. I would prefer a stub pole anchor on the opposite side of Church Street instead.
Oh,
I
okay.
recommend the committee to ask the applicant to discuss the feasibility of the alternative.
I can certainly bring it back to the engineer as a possible redesign. If
Yeah.
And
that's
we would
something.
communicate
Yeah.
with the city engineer
And
on
then
that, sir?
Your engineer would talk to our engineer?
Right, yeah, I mean, if that's.
Yeah, and I
that's
had
a-
hoped to have a chance to do that before the meeting, but I just haven't, so.
Thank you, Tom.
My comment to the committee was just that that's not an ideal place for a push brace.
Okay.
Normally those would go, or in my experience, they'd be off the road, not, it's sort of right in front of the house that's there on the corner.
All right.
So if, I'm not sure if engineering wise, if it's feasible to do a stub pole with a,
Yeah, it's possible. I can go back to the engineer, maybe straight across from pole 7.
Right.
And put a stub pole there and hit it with a wire.
right,
Certainly a possibility, sure.
yeah, okay. If you could look at that.
We can do one or two things, Mr. President. We can do one or two things. We can either table this particular item, or we could put in our motion that National Grid will communicate with our engineering department to address the concern we have.
I can check with Karen, but I'd recommend you have the engineering department's work, just keep it in committee, and if it requires a new public hearing, because we're changing the location, that's just one thing that I would want to know, because now you're putting it
I think
on
that's what
someone
my
else's
feeling would be,
property.
to table this and then address it. Yeah. Okay, so, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, motion to table.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Fine.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, third item. Order number 191007877. Petition from Mass Electric to install a new pole and anchor number 30-84 on Bigelow Street, which will enable National Grid to remove the pole to the tree guide wire. Okay, let's see what our engineer says about that one.
I think this one was cleared by the engineer.
What's that?
I think this was cleared by the engineer, so maybe we
Yeah.
can get a little bit more background.
Yeah, this is similar to the last one where we get rid of that tree guy. In this case, we could go across the street with a support pole. And it's kind of similar to what you wanted the other job to look into.
That's a plus, and he has no issue with that, so.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So, do we have a motion on that?
Motion, yeah, I have no further questions,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, but motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Okay, so that takes care of our three items. Do we have a motion? to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second that, all in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you, Tom, for